Welcome to this week's episode of Heart Chronicles with Minister Tasha and
Myself, Miss Amber B.
on last week, if you missed it, please go back and watch it. We were talking about depending on a man, which was it was a pretty good conversation.
Pretty good conversation.
So if
Yes,
you
it
missed
was.
it, go back and catch it. I'm sure you'll love it. It's some great information in that. And on this week, we're going to talk about a dependable man and what that looks like. So, Miss Amber, a
Yes.
dependable man.
A dependable man.
How would you define a dependable man?
Well, a dependable man, first and foremost, is a man that is trustworthy
I would agree.
and honest.
I would agree.
And I know oftentimes when we hear the word dependable, the first thing that comes to mind is, well, that means he's faithful. If he's dependable, he's faithful.
Right.
And
We do intertwine the two.
I don't know if we truly understand that being dependable is not just being faithful.
Right.
It's being a man of integrity in every area of your life.
And in order to be trustworthy, you have to be a man of integrity.
Yes,
In my
you do.
opinion.
Yes,
I
you
think
do.
what goes along with that too is loyalty. Loyalty not only in my presence, but loyalty when I'm not around.
Yes.
Respect
That is
when
a
I'm not
man
around.
of integrity.
Yes, it is.
And every woman out here desires to have one if she desires to have a mate. So, fellas, if you're listening, that is on our wish list.
For most of us, maybe not all, but for
For the most of
for the
us,
most
I
part,
would
yes,
agree.
we are.
So one of the things I also think about when I hear the word dependable man and what that looks like is a person that is also full of integrity as it relates to understanding how they feel. They know where their emotions lie.
Okay.
They know what they desire.
Okay.
They know how to communicate
Okay.
where they are, because that says that you're responsible for your emotions. You're responsible for your
Okay.
feelings. And if a man is responsible for his feelings and he's responsible and he's able to clearly communicate or articulate how he feels, I can rely on you. That means you're dependable. What do you think about that?
Okay.
It's a little
Because, we are very, we communicate well. As a matter of fact, I'm sure they would say sometimes too much.
yes. Yes.
So I think by the time that we get to that area where a man is vulnerable enough to articulate his thoughts and his feelings, that means we've provided a kind of a safe
safety
haven
net.
a
Yes.
safety net for them. Because I don't think that anyone, even whether you're a dependable man or not, I don't think a man would just give that to anyone.
I would agree with that. I would definitely
Yeah, so I
agree
think
with
that takes work. I also think that takes maturity on his part, because I'm sure by the time that he is secure in being vulnerable, he's been through a few things. And so he's learned a few lessons from not being a great communicator.
Yes, I would agree with that. So, oftentimes when I hear, dependable, I think, well, are men kind of brought up to kind of keep a lot of things within themselves, which makes them appear to be not dependable? Because we don't allow men to be that vulnerable and open. So I do think that it's something that's learned.
Absolutely.
And I think that as you grow and as you mature, understanding that a woman depends on you to be vulnerable in that space comes only through the experiences that you have. I don't think they just come into relationships and say, I'm dependable, and truly understand what that means and what that looks like.
But I think that depends on the man, and I think it also depends on the relationship. Because going back to that communication thing, that's kind of a tricky thing. And
It is.
sometimes you have to work up to that. And then all women don't really want you to communicate everything.
Well, see, I guess I'm one of the all women, or not. I'm the exception,
I
because
get
I
it.
want to know everything. I want to know everything, because to me, that's just such a level of transparency. And
But
when,
what if they can't articulate that in the moment? Does that make them not dependable because I can't say it right now, and I'm not? And it may take me a little longer to articulate than it would you.
it makes you dependable if you can say to me exactly what you just said. I
Come
cannot.
Come on, sis. Really?
I am so serious. If a guy said to me, I cannot say everything now because I don't know how to say it in a way that you can understand it, but give me some time. Oh, that's a level of respect that just goes to a
Like
higher
no
height for
other.
me.
I get it.
Because I am a talker and I'm a big communicator. So I'm not in the dating world right now, but I am a happily married woman.
Amen. That's what I'm
But
talking about.
in the event that I was not and I was in the dating world, I would have so much respect to see a man that was transparent about who he was,
Yes.
and transparent about what he didn't want to
Yes.
share.
Yes, I agree.
Because it immediately signifies I can rely on you to be 100% honest with me. So
No matter what.
therefore, whatever I may ask of you or need
Mm-hmm.
from you or look forward to for you to provide or produce,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be, confident and honest enough with me to say, I can do that, I can't do that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do that. And that to me creates a dependable man.
So you're saying that he leaves you no room to wonder.
Absolutely. That is a dependable man in Amber's
That's a
book.
dependable man.
I mean, what is that one thing for you, or, not necessarily you per se, but just for women in general that you think it is that we need to have to say, you know what, that's it. If he has that, I believe he's a dependable person.
I would like to think that it would be you do what you say.
Yes. Accountability is the
Accountability.
proper word for that.
Yes, you do what you say. Even if whether it's something small or something large, and even if it's something that you know what, I got busy, so I didn't get a chance to do that. Like you said, articulate that to me when we finally do talk. You know what? Hey, I'm sorry I didn't call you. I know I said I was gonna call you last night. I'm sorry.
Yes.
When I talk to you tomorrow, I want to hear.
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you, but I do expect to hear.
I expect to hear
I
from you
expect
on
to hear
tomorrow.
And I want somewhere in the conversation I should hear what
Yes.
happened, even if you don't outright say it. I should be able to hear it. Not, you act like nothing ever happened. And, hey, excuse me.
These, again, are conversations and pieces of the heart that Minister Tasha and myself are sharing with you all. So please know that this is not the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
It's
this
our
is the
opinion.
truth and the opinions of Minister Tasha and myself.
Correct.
Now, moving on, we need to put that disclaimer out there. So I know that we live in a world and we live in a society where everyone kind of beats down on the men. And
Oh,
we
yes.
don't give them a lot of credit.
Oh, yes.
And I think as women, we don't give credit where credit is due, because I think oftentimes men are kind of a little more transparent about what they want, what they don't want, what they like, what they do. We oftentimes overlook those things because we
Want what we want.
want what we want. But I think that most men, if we were ever to do a poll on men, I think they would all say, oh yeah, I'm definitely dependable. I'm definitely dependable. And I'm sure if we asked them, well, why do you think you're dependable?
You think they have a good answer?
They're going to probably all have the same answer. And it's probably going to be, hey,
Protection?
I protect you. I can provide for you.
Yes.
I can-
Which are great things, guys.
They are,
They are
but
great
they are
things.
not everything.
Yes.
But they'll say, I can protect you, I can provide for you, I can make sure you have what you need. Hey, I think they will go into more situational types of identifiers as to why they're dependable. Hey, I can fix this, I can do that. But those deeper areas and those deeper layers require some level of taking off.
Yeah. Trust.
You got to take off the veil, and you've
Yes.
got to really truly get down to the heart. It starts with the heart, and I think being a dependable man starts with being able to have a good heart. And you got to be
100%.
Yes, and you have to be a saved man. I don't see a man telling me you're dependable and you're not saved.
Right.
Because they go hand in hand.
That's right.
Because if you are submitted to God's
You have a
word and
heart
you're
after God's
submitted to
heart.
God's
Yes,
will,
that's big.
you are going to automatically fall into the realm
Yes.
of being a dependable man. But if you're not saved, you can't tell me you're dependable. You might have some things in which you would be able to provide financially,
Right.
but if you're not saved, you don't even understand. You got to be honest 100% of the time.
Well, it will behoove you to be honest, even if you don't necessarily want to.
Yes.
It would be a great thing if you did, whether it hurts us or not. And you touched on something a few minutes ago when you said that we don't give them enough credit because, they're getting basically ridiculed or beaten down in all these areas. And I think that's the main reason why it's hard for men to articulate what they want, or what they don't want, or what they're feeling, or what they're thinking, or being in those most vulnerable spots, or even sharing the innermost darkest secrets or feelings that they have. Because somewhere along the way, growing up, think about it, boys don't cry,
Yes.
or be quiet. They were taught to
Hold all of
hold
that
it
in. And then we get in relationships with them and we want you to pour it all out.
We want you to pour
And
it
then
all
when
out.
you don't pour it all out, we tell you that you're unreliable. I can't trust you. You're not honest with me. So now you're not dependable.
Not all women, Amber.
A lot of, okay, it may not be all women every time, but every last one of us has walked down that pathway.
We have definitely walked down that pathway where you wanted more. You wanted more, like you said, more transparency.
Yes.
And you're not in I guess they don't feel trusting enough to let you have that stuff.
So that brings up a question. So do you think that's maybe the reason why some guys appear to be not dependable, because they are in a space where, hey, I don't know if I trust her enough to even allow myself to, I don't even want her to depend on me like that, because I don't have that connection with her, because I don't think every man wants to be dependable for every woman that he interacts, and I don't think you owe her that.
You're 100% right.
I believe you owe her respect. I believe you
Yes.
owe her courtesy.
Yes.
But I don't believe that you have a responsibility to every woman that walks into your world to be the dependable source for her.
I think it's levels to it based upon the nature of the relationship.
Yes.
Now, that one, of course, he gonna pull out all the stops for it. That
Yes.
one.
Yes.
Those that are just fill-ins or fillers, or I'm just bypassing time, there's gonna be probably some sense of it. If they're observant, they'll be able to see the qualities of a dependable man with other things, but it just won't apply to them.
Yeah, that's
Been on that
good.
side of the stick.
As well as the other side.
Yes.
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 Not a whole lot. I can honestly say not a whole lot, though, for the most part.
Well, that's good.
But I think
That's good.
I think it depends on the person, and because we all bring certain things out of people, and I think it's what you bring that allows a person to know if they can be this person, the person that you need for them to be.
I'm interested. It will be very interesting to find out what it is that is the key indicator, or the flag, the it factor that says to a guy, you know what?
I can trust her.
I can trust her. I'll be dependable for her.
That's a good.
I'll
very
be
good
transparent for her. I will be reliable for her. When she needs me, I will be there.
question. Yes, that's good.
So she can depend on me, because I think that door opens up at some point. I don't know what the
It does.
trigger is
does.
for men. I'm interested to find out. But I think that would be something that would be informative for many women, just to kind of get a better understanding and insight. Yeah, into the man and how they think and how they feel, because our perceptions as it relates to what dependability looks like and what transparency and honesty looks like, I'm not sure it always agrees and lines up with everything that a man says.
As you were talking, I was thinking, and I think when we know exactly who we are, and we're not trying to prove a point or make a person be something, I think it naturally, just from experience, it naturally comes out.
I can see
And I
that.
can say that for me. I
Yeah,
can't speak for
I can
anyone
see
else,
that.
but
I
for
can
me,
see that.
it naturally happens. One thing happens, and then it's all on our response. So if I tell her that I got a flat tire today, let me see how she handles me telling her I had a flat tire. Or is she gonna be like, "What? What did you do?" Is she gonna make me feel bad because I called someone to change the tire? Or is she gonna, say, how's she gonna make me feel after I tell her this? Because what if I don't know how to change one? Or what if it just isn't my thing and I'd
You
rather
know
call
what?
someone?
You bring up something, and I've had this conversation with some girlfriends, so listen in to our viewing audience.
Can't wait to hear
There are some guys that if something goes wrong, you can call them for everything and they can do it. And then you have those guys that God just did not gift them with
That's
the
true.
ability
That's just not their
to
thing.
do things. Do you still consider them dependable?
Yes, because as long as you can make a phone call and get it done, I don't have to worry about it. By all means, absolutely.
So will you still have the same level of respect? So, for example, if you
it
get a fl-
depends on the woman. It depends on the woman.
But does it depend on the situation? So if I caught a flat tire or you caught a flat tire and you're on a date and the guy's like, well, I don't know how to fix a flat tire, so I'm going to have to call my boy. Would you look at him a little differently because he didn't get out there and try? Or would you have the same level of respect if he at least had the coins to go and call someone to come in?
For me, again, as long as you get it done, I don't care.
Well, I'm a little different.
As long as I don't have to worry about it. Long as I don't have to worry about it. That's alleviate my stress. As long as I don't have to worry about it. Do I know how to change a flat tire? Yes. Am I going to get out there? No.
And see, I can do it, and that's just because I had a grandmother. She was one of those.
I get
She's
it.
like, you know how to do it just in
I
case.
get it. Yes.
He can't, you know how to figure it out. But I think I would probably feel a little indifferent. And maybe that's not fair to the guys,
But that's about knowing exactly what you need, though. So,
Yes.
I think we agree. We want a masculine man.
Yes.
Of course. But there are some people that it doesn't matter just as long as you get it done. Now, for me, yes. If you get out there and change it, oh yeah, that's major brownie points. Major
brownie points.
However, if you can't, I'm not gonna beat you up about it. Like, what, you know how to change no tire? I know how to change the tire. I'm not gonna make you feel bad about it.
I wouldn't make you feel bad about it, but out the corner of my eye, I'm thinking
You gonna give him the side eye?
Oh my goodness.
And I comes no more.
Because honestly, I think as a woman, we have these preconceived notions that this is what a man looks like and this is what reliability and dependability looks like.
So you know,
so when they don't produce, what
But
do
here
you
I
do?
go, Amber. Here I go. You know how I am. You know how I am. So you know what's coming, right? And I know we're talking about a dependable man and these high expectations that we have, but what about this? Let's flip the coin.
Okay, we can flip the coin. So if we flip the coin and it's just like if a woman invited a man over to
And she can't cook.
and she cannot
And she
cook.
ordered ours and put it on a plate.
As a woman, I would probably say to her, shame on you. Because Google
But some people just
Google
don't
is
have
available. Cookbooks are available.
That. They are, but you know, sometimes you mess with, especially you because you're trying too hard, you mess some stuff up.
Be transparent and say, I tried and I messed that up. That right there will say that you gave the effort. And I think that we have certain roles, and I don't like to always say, well, that's a man's role and that's a woman's role.
Okay.
But I do believe that there are some areas where you need to at least attempt to try.
And I would agree.
If a man got out there and faked like he knew how to fix a tire and said, you know what, I can't get these
Like the
lugs
man
out.
on the news that was changing his tire, he was putting bandages in the. He had 2 flat tires, so he was putting band-aids and bandages in it. He was like, "Hey,
You know what? That would not work for me. But I do appreciate, and I think that most women appreciate a brother that gets out there and try. Yeah.
But here's the other thing. Like you said, tell me you don't know how.
Tell me
so
you don't
if
know
we
how.
Get this
And I can
flat,
probably-
I already know what to expect. I know you're going to call someone. We're going to call roadside assistance. We're going to call something.
Yeah, but I need you to get out there and try to do a half of the job and call somebody else to do the other half. But you can't sit in the car and say, I'm just going to call my boy to come and fix it, or I'm going to call AAA. No, you need to get out
I
there and
understand what you're saying.
show me some muscles, even if you don't have any popping out your shirt.
I understand what you're saying. Show me some masculinity.
muscle. Yes, yes. And I think that as
But I
women,
don't think no man just going to sit up in no car.
Tasha, I have friends who have experienced it, so I know that it to be true. So I am not speaking from what I've heard. I am speaking from what I have been advised has taken place.
Okay.
Okay, Heart Chronicles again.
Okay. I'll leave that there.
So, but anyway, so, you know, I do, again, back to the whole dependability thing. I do think sometimes our expectations and what we think dependability looks like on a man and how we expect for it to come out, when it doesn't come out like that, it will taint our thoughts. And we do. I will say that you are correct in saying that we have to be careful and be sure that we're not so quick to judge.
I was just great. So do you think
Yeah.
we come in with high expectations immediately?
Yes, because we're trained that way as women. We're trained. We're
So is
trained.
that bad?
I don't know if it's bad.
Okay, so can it hinder
It
the
can hinder you.
relationship?
It can
the
hinder you
relationship?
from meeting a very great guy.
Absolutely,
I do believe that.
because it doesn't look like you think, and so you're totally misjudging the picture, and
Yes.
it's not even what you're thinking.
And we all know that God will wrap some things up in a package
Do
that are
you
raggedy,
hear
and when you
me?
unwrap it, it is full of diamonds
Even
and
if
pearls.
it isn't raggedy, it just may not be packaged the way that you
Yes.
want it packaged, meaning they may not show you that up front because, they too, I think, get afraid. So they like, I'm looking for somebody dependable, so I want to know that you ain't going to tuck tail and run in your heels,
Yes.
at the slightest little thing. So I think we both do a proving
Yes.
process to our dependability.
I would agree with that.
And I think that the more that we show that we're, I hate to use this term because it's so cliche, but that ride or die. I'm down. You gonna ride with me? You got my back. That's what I'll use. You got my back.
You got my back.
I think that helps to unravel the gift of them showing us that they're dependable.
And I
There
think,
are some areas that up front I think that they should automatically show.
yes.
We need to see that.
Yes.
Such as during speaking for me, the courting phase. You said you're gonna call me, then
I
call
need
me.
you to call me.
You said we going out,
I need you to
but whatever
Yeah.
the things are.
So our
But that's-
dependability apparently definitely rides on, hey, being very honest, being
Yes.
very
But
transparent.
that's what dependability is about. Can I rely on you
To do what you said you were gonna do.
And it starts. So here's the thing: if I can rely on you in the small things, then I won't have an issue relying on you with my big things.
Do you think a lot of people could be saved a lot of heartache if accountability was at the forefront of everything that everybody does?
Absolutely, but I think so many people are hiding behind their real true intentions and what they really want.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree. But how do you make that transformation and go into that space? Because I think that oftentimes when people are in a place where accountability is difficult to speak about or difficult to even display, it's because there's a place of hurt that they're coming from. So to be accountable is to be vulnerable. You can't have one without the other, because accountability says that, hey, you have to own everything that you do, the good, the bad,
That's
the
right.
ugly, the indifferent. And I think sometimes when we can't see that, it allows us to diminish how we see men, and it takes away from the strength that they should have and the light that we should see them in, because that accountability factor and owning yourself and owning your desires and owning your feelings and owning your truth, that's not what we see a lot in today's age.
Which is true, and I think part of that is because of how we were brought up. So some of us weren't made to be accountable, and then there are times when we're more accountable with our friends, but not necessarily with the person that we're seeing or dating or married to. And even in married couples, sometimes that it takes time because I'm not used to being held accountable for my actions, my thoughts, what I say, anything. So that's where I think most people, when you start being held accountable because someone says, well, what's up with that? Or I thought you were going to do such and such. It makes some people shrink back because, wait a minute, I'm answering to somebody. And so they feel like they're losing themselves because they're in this vulnerable spot. And it's not that you're losing yourself.
Yes.
It's that you're doing something different to make it work, to meet in the middle, basically. If we're a team, we have to meet somewhere.
Yes.
That don't mean I have to come necessarily sit on your bench. But we have to meet at least on the play field,
Right. I can't wait till we take the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation,
With the fellas.
With the fellas.
I'm so excited about that conversation.
On our next episode, we're going to sit down and have a conversation with the fellas and kind of get their take on our views as it relates to a dependable man and what it looks like.
And what it looks like for them in regards to us. And I think that's the part that I'm kind of, curious to see, like, what are they going to say? What does that look like for them? Because like you said, we have our expectations on what we think it should look like, feel like, seem like, be like, at every turn. But what kind of pressure does that put on them, or
That
is
puts a lot of
or is it pressure?
That puts a lot of pressure on the guys, and I have to think
to show up
at
all
because
times.
you have to be ready at all times. And I don't know if we have that same pressure because, well, I take that back. We do. Our pressure comes from beauty, though.
This is true.
Our pressure comes from being on all the time as it relates to appearance. And I think for men, the pressure comes from being reliable. That's the pressure that they receive, and I think that's the biggest difference because, see, ours is surfaced, theirs is internal. So internally, what pressures they have to deal with as it relates to dependability come from, show me your strength, show me you're trustworthy, show me that, you're going to do what you said you're going to do. All we have to do is make sure we look good every day. We can be broken inside. We can be
some
hurting.
Amber. Here I go again. For some men,
For some men, what?
That's for some. But I think a lot of men they want substance beyond our beauty.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that on initial interaction or initial
I think it depends on the
connection,
age. Well, initial, yes. Your first,
Initial.
It's always.
It's always.
It's definitely physical.
It's definitely initial.
Definitely,
it's not
definitely physical.
the entire time of the relationship.
Yes.
But I think that initial phase,
Oh, yes.
our only concern is, do I look good? Is the surface correct? But for men, they need to make sure that, guess what? If she needs me to provide, I need to be able to do it today. First date. If she needs me to move something, I got to be
She
able
want
to
this
do
steak and lobster. Let me make sure I got enough money in these pockets.
Absolutely. So they have a different level of dependability that we expect from them on the initial courting stage.
That's true.
That women do not have. We can kind of just sit back and relax, just look good.
And again, I still, on the first date.
On the
yeah,
first
on
date.
the first
This
date.
is just first date.
First date. If we're talking first date, yes. But even still that, I think still, depending on the man and where he is in life, even during the date, they're still listening.
Yes, very much so. And I think guys listen more than we realize.
Yes.
They listen to everything. They hear the whispers. They hear everything. They may not speak about it, but they do.
They don't miss a beat.
And I think that's probably why women put such a honesty and do what you said, because I know you're listening when I speak. Because you hear if I'm whispering, but you don't hear when I request something.
Yeah, because it's how you request. It's how you request.
It is. It's an interesting topic.
It is, and I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm excited about the men that's going to be joining
Yes.
us. I think we have a nice mix, and I think they're going to bring some great dialogue to the topic. We have some very mature, spiritual men that love the Lord, and they've been through a few things and walked down a few blocks.
Absolutely.
So I think it's going to make for a great conversation.
It is. So I am interested to see what they have to say and just kind of what their thoughts are about what we said. Like, I would love for them to confirm if we said anything that was true.
Or if we're totally off.
Or if we're totally off, give us that dependability factor and let us know. You guys are wrong. Your thoughts are wrong. We don't see it that way at all, because that will help us go back and internalize, hey, maybe our view about a situation needs
Maybe
to
we
be
need to tweak
changed.
it. That's right.
Or
And
maybe
I'm
we
all
need
for
to see it-
change.
I am too.
Yes.
And maybe we need to see it through another set of lenses.
But I think we should, period, because again, we don't think like men and they don't think like us. So we're just speculating on our end. This is what we feel it should look like. But for them, exactly, what is it?
Yeah. And although we do not think alike or take the same routes to achieving or obtaining the same goals, I think ultimately the goals are the same.
Yes, they are.
You want someone that you can love, that
Yes.
you can trust,
Yes.
that you can rely on,
Yes.
that you can count on, that if they say they're going to be there, they're going to
Yes.
be there. So I
No-
think
no
we
matter
all
what.
want it. We just have different routes
Yes.
and avenues that we take to get
That's
there.
true. And it's different ways that, so we may throw out, the little things, like I said, the calling back, but they throw out, let me see if she's going to remember to go get my cleaners.
Yes.
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 You know how we are.
She told me that she was going to help me.
She told me.
She told me she would bake me this
She
cake.
said that she would have that such and such done by such and such a time. Let's see if she's going to have it done.
Yeah.
Or is she going to say, you know what?
So I'm
I got
sure we
busy.
struggle in those areas. I am guilty.
We do.
We are. We are.
do.
And I think it's because we may not have as much pressure. The world puts a lot of pressure on the men. It does, and
really
I
do.
will.
The world and us.
Yes,
And us.
we are very much guilty. So we would like to, first of all, thank you guys for tuning in
Yes.
on this episode of
Heart
Heart
Chronicles.
Chronicles. And like we said, on our next episode, we're going to have a panel of 3 wonderful gentlemen,
Yes.
and they're going to sit here and give us their thoughts on dependability and what that looks like, and help Minister Tasha and myself to discover if we are on the right track with our thoughts or not. So.
And some great thoughts for you guys.
Absolutely. So, on the next episode of Heart Chronicles, we thank you guys for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.